Excuse me.
Welcome to episode 3 of the FAB podcast on Whip Sports Radio.
Yeah.
The FAB podcast is the monthly show for women in the sports business, and we believe that women in sports deserves equal coverage. Hi, welcome to this month's episode of the FAB podcast. I am so excited that you're tuning in. For those who are joining us for the first time, my name is Datorria Robinson, and I am one of your hosts of the FAB podcast. FAB stands for Females in Athletic Business, which is a trade organization for professional women and students pursuing careers in the sports industry. FAB is designed to bring together women of all ages who love putting their passion for sports to work for them. We want to give a huge thank to our sponsors, It's On, for making our podcast possible. It's On is a lifestyle and apparel brand devoted to motivating players and people to achieve through hard work, dedication, discipline, and effort. It's On currently sells many different types of t-shirt designs to rep your city. Make sure to check out their website at itsoneverywhere.com and follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at It's On Everywhere. Looking ahead in the next few months, FAB will be hosting a spring training for your career event on April 20th in Lansing, Michigan. Registration will begin earlier this month, and the theme of the event will be Survive, Strive, Change. We will cover the topics of sexual harassment in the workplace, ways we bring change for women in our industry, and how to handle the mental health strains that can affect women in our industry, like being available at all hours, getting little to no feedback, the ups and downs in moods, depending on wins and losses, and so much more. The keynote speaker is Terry Jackson. This is going to be such a great event packed with information. Did you know that joining the Females in Athletic Business organization is 100% free to join, with many networking opportunities, friendships, and insights on jobs? We would love to hear from you. So if there is something or someone you would love to hear on an upcoming podcast, make sure to tweet us and let us know at FabSports.org. Everyone, I am so excited for today's episode because we will be talking about women in leadership, specifically in college athletics. And what better way to kick this segment off than by having our guest, the great Miss Jacqie McWilliams, here with us today. Jacqie McWilliams is the commissioner of the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association. Jacqie is the first African-American female to hold this title. Again, she is the first African-American female to hold this title. The CIAA is home of 12 member institutions and 14 championships, which Jacqie is highly familiar with before she even took her position. Commissioner McWilliams was a student athlete at Hampton University, where she was a member of the 1988 NCAA D2 Women's Basketball Championship team and the 1987 and 1990 CIAA Volleyball Championship teams. Wow. In addition to this, she was Player of the Year, Freshman Player of the Year, All Conference, all 4 years. And I mean, just to think of that, wow, that's a lot. And so she was a former two-sport student athlete, and she also spent time at the NCAA, where she served as the director of Division I Women's Basketball Tournament from 2006 to 2009 and the Men's Division I Tournament from 2007 to 2012. She was chair of the NCAA Division II Management Council and the NCAA Board of Governors. Commissioner McWilliams currently serves on the Board of Directors for Women Leaders in College Sports, the Collegiate Women's Sports Awards, and the NCAA Board Ad Hoc Committee for Cultural Diversity. She's a native of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and she has a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from Hampton University and a Master's of Art in Sports Administration from Temple University. Commissioner McWilliams, welcome to the FAB podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you today, Tori, as you can tell. Thank you.
So just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate the introduction. You kind of shared as I'm listening to you. I'm going, wow, that's me. I feel like I've accomplished a lot in my career, my athletic career, my administrative career, and still have a lot to go. I've been in athletics now for about 25 years. I've been on the Division I level, Division II level, mostly my career, whether I spent 10 years almost at the NCAA, but really have been in the historically Black college and university culture, which I'm so excited about and blessed to lead the CIAA. That was my dream job. And so to have the opportunity to bring everything that I've done from a student athlete perspective, a coaching perspective, administrator, working at the highest level of collegiate athletics at the NCAA, and a diverse group of institutions that I've been on their campuses and working with student athletes, and then to lead this organization has been like icing on the cake for me. So, Tori, I'm really, really thankful that I have this platform, an opportunity to talk about the CIAA, but really as a woman leader, managing that day to day and being successful.
It's so inspiring. Me, myself, I want to one day be a director of athletics, one day work at the NCAA. And so to have someone like you in this industry, to be a strong woman in sports, to kind of, see that one, it is possible, and two, that foundation is there for us to kind of go after, and it's so inspiring. I mean, just both you being a student athlete and now you being, a senior woman administrator, in this industry, it's also inspiring to former student athletes, who want to get that step in the door, but they've been a student athlete forever, so they don't know how to get into that realm. And so you're an athlete, you hold a number of CIAA titles. So what values and things that you had as an athlete that helps you in your role now as a senior woman leader, as well as like a commissioner?
That's a great question. We just celebrated on February 7th, National Girls and Women's Sports Day. And my daughter and I, right before she was going to school, she posted something about that on my social media. And I wanted her to do it because I wanted her to talk about why sport is so important. But for a girl, why is it so important? And I think what I've learned in being in athletics and sports, even baton twirling, I mean, just the consistency of drive, the eagerness to win, and, and then the resiliency to stand up even when you lose, so there's all these things that you learn playing sport, and leadership, how do you, if you're an individual track runner or a swimmer, there's a difference to me with leadership for those who've done individual sports, but team sports. But at the end of the day, we all want to win. And so the drive that I think that I've gotten from participating in sports and some of the coaches that I've had to really push me to meet the maximum potential in the game. And I never thought I was ever good enough, but they taught me how to push myself forward for success. And it's the same thing in college athletics or any career that you have. I feel like as a commissioner, I've been able to take all those things from playing sports and integrate them into my everyday life at not just work, but even at home, to be organized, to be disciplined, to be able, to bring the community together so that our family is intact, so the CIAA family is intact. And so I think there's core values that I've learned, and loyalty. What does loyalty mean? And honesty, being honest and having integrity in sports is so critical for sportsmanship and attitude. I mean, all those things have really helped me be successful outside of being in a military family. I mean, you had to be disciplined in my family. You can leave the house without making up your bed and cleaning up your room. And so those things are still instilled in me, and they're instilled in my family as well. But I do think they've helped me be successful in leading and at least trying to be the best leader that I can be every day and an example to others.
That's inspiring too, especially when you bring up, coming from a military household. So what made you decide that I want to go this direction instead of, following, your family and being, going towards the military? What shifted your vision to say, hey, I want to do sports, and then to one day say, I want to work in sports?
Yeah, sport for me was an opportunity to get a college degree. I mean, I chose Hampton. I could have got a scholarship in Colorado or somewhere, gone to a junior college or a 4-year school. But it was something for me about going to, as we called the Hampton University, the Harvard of the South, to go into an elite school as such, a Black college, but then also the program, the women's basketball program, and the Coach Sweat at the time was phenomenal. And so to get a great academic and then be a part of the athletic program and play volleyball there as well, I mean, it was the best fit for me. And so going there was the best fit and learning how to play the game. And though I had men coaches for basketball, I had a female coach for women's volleyball. I learned so much from them. They were passionate about women succeeding, making sure that we had equal opportunity as the men did. I mean, I can remember our coaches going back and forth fighting over the gym space with the football coaches when it was raining outside. And we were like, football is for outside. They should go outside. So, but at the same time, it was, the same love for each other and having as much as respect as we could for each other's sports. But I think I watched them and how they manage, the challenges of trying to get equal access and opportunity for us. And, I thought I was going to go in the military or go and be a child psychologist. And my coach, Tiny Laster, really encouraged me to stay in sport. I mean, he said, you could be a coach or you could be, and I never really wanted to coach, even though I ended up coaching in the start of my career. But he gave me a sense that I didn't know there was opportunities in athletics. I knew there was coaching. I didn't see a lot of women in administration. At Hampton, there was some women in administration, and they were African-American women. So I saw them and had a chance to interact with them and was impressed just to see how they carried themselves on the campus. And so for me, it was good to see other women who looked like me and understand that there was an opportunity for me. And I didn't know any different. And so, pursuing a career in sport sounded good. And that's what I did. I went and got my master's and it kind of took off from there. It was a little discouraging at first because I wasn't sure what a career in sport looked like, because there's so many opportunities and you got to understand what it is. So what you're doing today, Tori, is amazing. I mean, look at you being able to interview and learn more and share the education of what's out there for other women and other people to get involved in athletics and administration. And that's what we need. We need more women like you and others to understand the value of working in the career and how do we help move you through it much better than how I got moved through.
Thank you. And I appreciate you saying that too, and speaking on the fact that it's so much in sports. And, on the outside looking in, when I talk to young girls who are, looking to get into the industry or, just starting out with internships and things, and they're like, there's so much that I want to do, but I don't know how to do it. And so for you to say like, hey, there is a lot out there, but just go for it, is really, really important, especially, for our listeners who I hope really took note of that. Like, there is so much you can do in sports. You just have to go for it. And let me reaching out to you be an example, because I was like, here goes nothing. Let me just see. I was like, here we go.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I mean, it's always good. I mean, there's not many opportunities that I turn down, especially when I know what the questions you're asking and the platform that I have. There's not many African-American women in my position. Matter of fact, there's only 2 African-American commissioners. There's 1 Asian-American commissioner, and then the rest of the females out of the 25 or 30 are Caucasian women or white women. And so, and then the rest are males. And so there's not many of us that get the opportunity. So when we do, I mean, I can't do everything and be everywhere, but I'll do my best, to find ways to get involved or get others involved, so that we can tell our stories and demonstrate that you can get here. It's a little difficult for everybody as you navigate yourself. But I do think with the attitude and drive, and connecting yourself and being surrounded by the right people, and sometimes understanding you're going to fall in the best position that you thought you had, but then you get back up and you take that lesson to build you up for the next opportunity. And so I do feel like I have a responsibility to take advantage of these types of opportunities.
Absolutely. So I want to know, this is a fun question. I've always wanted to experience this. But you were inducted into the Temple University Gallery of Success and the Siena High School Hall of Fame. How was that? Like, what went through your mind, like, when you found out you were getting inducted into these, like, the Hall of Fame and the Gallery of Success? Like, what emotions did you feel?
Wow, nobody's ever asked me that before. And it's funny. I'm like, I was in my high school Hall of Fame. It was humbling. It was Sierra in Colorado Springs, I was the Athlete Gazette Player of the Year. I had so much success as a high school athlete, and my coaches there. I was with my volleyball coach this weekend. She lives in Maryland, and I just thanked her for giving a little girl like me an opportunity to play for her and really teaching me to love and play the game of volleyball. And same thing, my coach for basketball, the Olympic Training Center was there, and he would take me to the trials, and I could see the Coopers and all the women who were like amazing Olympians and watch him referee their games for the trials. And then in my wildest dreams, I thought that I could play in the Olympics, and that was a dream of mine. And so, I never pursued it because once I got to college, I'm like, I think I'm tired of playing. And I'm ready to do something different. But, the fact that I was, honored at my high school, it meant a lot. It meant a lot to go back home and be around the people that really gave me a chance to play. And, particularly when, girls playing and having the opportunities, were still limited. And my school had it. The Temple, the same thing. It was just kind of weird when I got the call, and I was like, why me? And as I think about, my spiritual sense, and even my mom. And the other thing is my mom got to see me be inducted at Sierra before she passed. So that was a great thing for her to be able to see me getting honored. And she came to all of my games. And, my dad was supportive, but he worked a lot. So that was great. But the Temple success was special. And one of the reasons is because I don't think I ever thought that I would be honored at Temple. For whatever reason, I look at the Temple magazine and I look at all the alumni stuff I get, and I'm like, God, these people are like amazing people. And why I wouldn't think of myself amazing? I don't know. It's just the work that I do. And so, as Job would say, or God would say, why not you? And that's kind of how I saw the Temple. Like, why not me? I've done a lot. I give back to the institution financially every year. I give back to Hampton every year, back to them. And every year I try to increase it because it's really important for students like myself or others to have the same opportunities that I had, or they don't have. And so, yeah. And then I just found out I don't know if I'm supposed to tell it or not, but they did inform me I will be inducted to another Hall of Fame this summer. I'll just say that. And when I got that letter, I think my heart stopped for about 2 seconds. I was in absolute awe and probably in tears. And this is the first time I've talked about it. And I've only told a couple of people about it because I think I'm still it ain't for real. But, when it comes out, it'll be a big celebration for me and my family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, congratulations on that. That's big.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so you talk about your daughter, who is Mini Kamish.
Yeah.
I love her on Instagram too. She has so much personality. But I always admired how you prove the status of women who work in this industry. It's hard for them to have families. And just share with us a little bit how you prove that not to be true and how you maximize on motherhood and your career.
Yeah, Tori, there's been scary moments where I've said when I had Simone, I was married, and then, unfortunately we're not together anymore. And when thinking about how am I going to raise this girl majority by myself, like, what does that look like? And I was terrified, really had a lot of anxiety about, can I be a great mother and still be a commissioner, and how I'm going to travel. And what I found is, even when I was married, the community that we built around us to support Simone and even our family, like, that hasn't changed. And so I have a group of community folks around us that love Simone, male role models that, they go and have lunch with her. If I send a text to a dear friend and say, look, Simone is, feeling some kind of way, they'll take off and go have lunch with her at school, pick her up and go take her to dinner. I mean, to me, that is like I mean, it's just a blessing that God has put these people around me. And I don't have family in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we have built our family around us, one to help me. My aunt from Atlanta comes up. She'll be here for the tournament week. A couple of my girlfriends come. They're like my support group. My dad has come here to help me with Simone. But at the end of the day, she's my responsibility. And so, yesterday I took her out of school so she can go to indoor track. And she went first part of the morning, picked her up, and we had a ball. She was like, "Thank you so much for letting me go. I'll take her out of school a couple of days for the basketball tournament," because it's part of her experience as well. And sometimes I make her write, and she has to go back and do a report and share her educational experience and what she did, social media, tell her story. And so I really try to make it part of her experience as well. I love that she came up with her own hashtag or her own name of mini dish. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And so she sees herself in me. And so I think that's why I'm so inspired by her, as she probably is by me, is because, I see her future, and I just know that God has something for her. She can't see it as well as I do, but she's so talented. And so to expose her and to have her around the right people. And every now and then I have to tell her, you're 12, so these are things that you don't need to be in, and these things that you're okay. And she receives that. It's never a pushback at all. So I'm just very blessed to have a wonderful, wonderful little girl. And I love watching her grow. And 6 years from now, she'll be going to college. So I'm trying to take advantage of this moment that I have with her in the job. There is balance, and balance is what you make it. And I think oftentimes we're working so hard to prove that we're great, that we can work from 9 to midnight, to get ahead of everybody. I think as you mature in the business and as the CEO or the leader of the CIAA, I have so much more flexibility than when you're the person that's on the ground running every day. And so, today I chose to work from home because I had tons of calls and it was easier for me to focus here. And I've been on the road for 3 days or 4 days. And so I need to at least get some clothes in the washing machine. So it's that thing to recognize that those things need to be done and being okay to stop to do it. And I try to make sure that my staff understands that as well. If they're sick, I tell them to go home or don't come in. If I see they've been running, I tell them don't come in. If you do, I'll write you up. I mean, so there's things that culturally as a leader that I try to instill in my staff because they have families too. And we are a family as a staff.
That's really important. I admire, being a part of departments or just any job, no matter where it is, where it has that family and that understanding kind of environment, because it makes it a lot easier. I know my mom, she raised me on her own, and it was a challenge too. And fortunately, I had a village myself where I had people I knew I could go to, or that my mom was like, okay, she's there, so she's okay, so I can focus on A, B, and C. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, it's good that you say that too, because it's like, it brings that like, okay, it is okay. Because I know I'm not the only woman, coming up in this industry who's been told that, it's hard to have families in this, or it's hard to, do this and do that when you're in this career. So,
yeah. I think, sometimes women will pass up job opportunities. I have a dear friend that I mentor, and, she was hesitant about applying for an AD job. And I'm like, but you're prepared to be an athletic director. I mean, and I ran down all the things that she's done. She has 3 kids. She's married, and her family is extremely supportive, and it's still, the job is located in her area. So it's not like she would just be uprooting and moving everyone. And she was just hesitant. Like, could I do it? The pressure that you feel as a leader. I tell Tori, you want to be an athletic director, and that's great, but you have to learn all the things to get there, right? And you will. But getting in the role of athletic director is different than being the assistant athletic director, the assistant commissioner, the senior woman, whatever your title is, because when you get to the AD or the commissioner position, the strategy and the mental awareness that you deal with is very different than being on the ground operationally. So for me, I'm doing all of it in my head. I'm having the right people execute what my vision is. I'm the visionary. I'm the strategist. I'm the political person to take care of those things so that they can do their job well. I always tell them, I don't want you to have to worry about about X, Y, and Z. That's my job to deal with the president. That's my job to deal with the political piece. You just need to communicate what you need, and then I can navigate and influence that way. And so, folks who have gotten, a few people I've mentored that are ADs now, and they're just like, I just don't know how you do it. Well, you figure it out. It wasn't easy getting in the position my first 2 years. I mean, I can tell you there were days I said, they can take this job. I don't need to be a commissioner. But I do think, again, all those things that we talked about, resilient, strength and learning. I become a better person going through all of those challenges that felt like I couldn't make it. And life is like that. It doesn't have to be a commissioner position. It could be in a relationship, like, will I ever get over him? And absolutely you do. And when you get on the other side, you go, oh my God, like I absolutely did it. So I can look at everything that I've been through. And I thank God, because I am much stronger and more confident than I've ever been. And there are days that I still question, am I the person? Am I an imposter? Like, should I really be in this position? And at the end of the day, God tells me, yes, you are. I made it just for you. And so I received that. Yes, I do.
Wow, that's inspiring. Like that's truly inspiring me. So I want to thank you so much on behalf of Females in Athletic Business and the FAB podcast for being on the show with us today. I'm inspired. Like I there are no words to explain this moment. I know a lot of my friends who are avid listeners of the FAB podcast are probably freaking out just as much as I am, because I talk about you all the time. So I just want to thank you so much for being on the show today. And I know that our listeners and our members are extremely motivated and inspired by your journey. And we want to thank you so much for all your kind words of wisdom.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You've been listening to the FAB Podcast, a co-production of Females in Athletic Business and WISP Sports. For more conversations from the world of women, including articles, blogs, videos, and podcast sports, visit wispsports.com and follow us on social media at wispsports and fabsports.org. WISP Sports Radio is the world's largest podcast network for women's sports, with more than 770 episodes across 30 shows and a global audience of 1.6 million. Download your podcast player from iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, and Google Play. Visit Females in Athletic Business at fabsportsorg.com. And thanks again to our sponsor, It's On, a lifestyle and apparel brand devoted to motivating players and people to achieve through hard work, dedication, discipline, and effort. Never forget where you came from and never stop believing in where you're going. Be sure to visit them online at itsoneverywhere.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of the FAB Podcast.